Well, you all know what day it is. It's Thursday. Thursday. Today's the day that the final episode of And Just Like That aired. It was the day we've all been waiting for, the day for this shit show to be finally over. But is it? Is it really over? So I thought I would pull out the special music because it's a special day. I'm Megan Fox. I write with pjmedia.com. You can find my commentary on this disaster of a show, or as Real Housewives recaps Jen would say, a load of pants. Because I don't think anything really describes this show better than a load of pants. I mean, Jen's right on the money with that. So I thought I would open the program today with this rendition of The Girls and Michael Patrick King that was shown in Vanity Fair. Somebody made like an art rendition of these four, and they're so proud of themselves. I mean, they just are. They're so proud of themselves. They're so narcissistic that they have even created artwork of this terrible reboot. So everyone drink for narcissism, shall we? Let's have a drink. Every time the narcissists appear in the show, we need to honor that with a drink of something stiff. I'll tell you, you're going to need it. Because this show will certainly not make you stiff. No. It won't. As Samantha famously said, I think I just lost my boner. This show is the worst. And there's just nothing exciting about it anymore. So, shall we get to it? I guess we should. Should we leave the music up? Do you like the music, or is it just going to get annoying? I think we'll get rid of it. It's going to get annoying after a while, so let's turn it off. All right. Now, adding to the stream would be the pictures that I took throughout this entire shit show. You know, wow, it's moving really fast. Why is it moving so fast? I'm going to have to back that up. Back it up. Back the truck up, as the girls would say. So a lot of times I go through these, I've watched it 2 times, and I make these slideshows, and then I go back to record, and I just start telling you what I think based on the pictures, and I don't look at my notes. Today, I'm going to make an effort to look at my notes, because there were so many things that I wrote down that I don't want to forget, and every time I do this, I always forget something. So we start in the X, Y, and Me podcast with Che Diaz, because, we haven't seen enough of her. And I'm going to give Sarah Ramirez some credit here. I actually think she's one of the best actors in the show. And the reason I say that is because I never criticize her for being a bad actor. We believe very much that she is this obnoxious character. So good for her. She actually did pull off this character. And although I don't think that their intention was to make you hate her, I don't think that that's what the intention of the writers and the character creator was. Although, we all do, and we believe that she's this character. So I'll give her that. That's the one compliment that I'm going to give to the actor on this, because she does annoy everyone. I mean, so let's go. I wrote this down. I just, example of bad writing. Every time we find an example of terrible writing, we're going to drink on that one too. So get your coffee out, get your vodka out. At this point, it doesn't matter what time in the morning it is. We all deserve a cocktail for watching this series. How many hours of our lives have we dedicated to this thing? All right. So she opens up on the X, Y, and Me podcast, and her big joke is, a woman broke up with me on FaceTime. She should have broken up with me on 2 FaceTime. Cue forced laugh track. What? So we've gone from a show that is super gross, talking about public masturbators on the subway, and that being a good thing, to breakup stories. I half expected Carrie to respond with, you think that's bad, but I got broken up with on a Post-it note. I was really expecting that to come, but what happened instead? Carrie actually pulls out my husband's dead. My husband died. Oh my goodness, drink. I forgot to let you drink for the bad joke, the bad writing. So another one of those. What is she wearing? It's another purple, reminiscent of the Paul Gaultier Joker suit, except it has feathers on the shoulders and some kind of bling. I don't know, but this is hideous. And I don't understand it. Again, with the oversized jackets, they are just determined. It's like they heard us say one time that we hate this, and then they decided, hey, let's piss off the audience even more. Um, so of course she pulls out the my husband died, so I win. And this is all they've turned Carrie's personality into just this woman who runs around one-upping everybody because her husband died. It's so weird and gross how this is all just about Carrie again. Everything is always about Carrie. Nobody can have a bad date. Nobody can have a bad breakup because she has the worst. And she's even like, I'm the winner. I win. I win because I have the worst story. Ugh, good God, stop. So after that cringe scene, at least that's the last time we have to see that podcast again. That's all I'm thinking. Carrie is in her closet and she's going on a date and she's looking at Big's ashes, which are still on the closet shelf next to her shoes. And she's kind of talking to it and being like, I'm going on a date. And then again, I don't think I've ever talked about this, but I just happened to catch a screen grab of the title card. I can make that in iMovie. It's so weird that they did that. Like, did anyone hire a graphic artist for this show, or did we just decide to let somebody's kid play around in iMovie and be like, hey, that'll do. That'll do. It's just so cheap looking. And I don't understand. And the title also, so hard to say, and just like that. And I can't even it's been 10 episodes now. And every time I go to reference the show, I'm like, and just like that. Like, it doesn't roll off the tongue. I think Jen pointed that out the other day, and I've been saying it every time I write about it, that it's just so hard to say. I don't know why they did it like this, but it's annoying. Okay, so Carrie, again, she's out on the date with Mr. Pukey Pants, and we didn't see the date. The writers did not write the date. So we still don't know if these people had a good time or who he is at all. We have no clue what his character is or what they talked about. Why is it so difficult for these writers to write dialogue on a date? It's like they're scared to do it. They've given us nothing. And again, I call this the Carrie on the Prairie look. She's still in a jacket, although at least this time the jacket is fitted. It's not an oversized jacket. It actually fits her. But I think we need to put out an APB on Carrie's neckline and shoulders and arms. Like, where are they? This is another Mormon look. Carrie the Mormon out on the prairie. The skirt is so long, it is dragging on the wet ground in New York City. She has to pick it up to walk up the stairs. That's how long it is. It's just a strange thing. Oh, and I didn't get a screenshot of the kiss because frankly it was yuck. It wasn't very good. And he also, so again, bad writing. And also we forgot to drink for the oversized jacket. Bad writing where he says to her, we did okay. Well, what did he say? Oh, I'd like to kiss you if that's okay. Now, normally that would be a sweet thing, I think, but here it just feels really awkward and cringe. And then she says, okay. And then he kisses her, but she kind of falls off his mouth. It's not good. And I can't figure out why these two people want to kiss each other. I mean, 2 seconds before that, he's still talking about his dead wife. And then he says, we did okay for 2 heartbroken people. Bad writing, drink. I just thought that was just a letdown, the whole thing. I probably would have liked Carrie's outfit if that skirt hadn't been so long, and I still just don't understand why she's hiding her arms under all the jackets. I like the shoes. So then she calls Seema immediately, and of course Seema is having a 3-day sex fest with Zed. So finally someone's having sex in the show. At least someone is. It's Seema. And, they're getting room service and of course, Carrie, of course, has to interrupt Seema and be like, hey, we have to talk about my date, which was no I don't know what she had to tell. Like nothing happened. Love, love, love the styling on Seema. Look at that ring. So beautiful. She is one of the only characters, her and LTW, who bring any style to the show at all. And I just love that cocktail ring. I just think it's beautiful. So, of course, Carrie's trying to tell her sob story, and Seema's really not interested. She's got a hot guy in her hotel room. Like, yeah, sorry, Carrie. Bye. I wouldn't want to talk to her either. Carrie's a downer all the time. So now we have this weird storyline with the lamp on the shelf over her head, which, as Jen rightly points out, always looks like stuff is going to fall on her while she's sleeping. It's a weird place for a shelf. In fact, I had a shelf like this over my bed when we moved into this house, and it was kind of like we never put anything on it because it looked unstable. And I was like, the second we put something on that, it's going to fall. And I finally had my husband take it down because it really bothered me. I don't think anyone should sleep with a shelf over their head. Like, haven't you ever seen stuff fall out of the wall? It happens. Anyway, so this lamp starts turning on and off, and she thinks that it's big, maybe trying to say something about her being on a date or kissing someone else. And so that sets up this storyline that's about to happen. And so she goes to lunch. And now, please, this is Miranda's wigs moment. Oh my goodness. Miranda, for one, has been a lesbian for 5 minutes, and she's already wearing lesbian sporting wear, the lesbian tracksuit, which I find really ugly and stupid. Look at this thing. Drink. Terrible. And you can't see what Carrie's wearing yet because she hasn't stood up, but it's basically pajamas. She's wearing pajamas at this lunch or whatever they're having. But Miranda's wig looks the worst it's ever looked in this scene. Look at it. It's like standing out from the back of her neck. You can see, like, if you look under her ear, like the hair, that's always the thing about wigs that I hate. I don't know why they can't fix that. But there's always that like gap between the neckline, like between your hairline and your neck, and you can tell that it's fake. And it's like they just didn't even try. Like they just did not even try with this wig. It is hideous. And Miranda's also being extremely so they kind of did this thing where it almost felt forced, like the writers were trying to bring old Miranda back. And so when Carrie brings up the fact that she thinks Big is trying to communicate with her, Miranda goes into this, "Oh, you don't really believe that, do you? You don't believe that. Come on. Do we believe in the Easter Bunny now?" But it's really insensitive. And I mean, if someone's loved one dies and they're talking about possibly getting a sign from them or something, even if you think it's kooky, maybe you should just shut up about it because, it's just wrong. So I felt like they were trying to bring old Miranda back, but I'm not sure old Miranda would have been this insensitive. And so she's like cracking shecky jokes about believing someone is in heaven, and it just comes off as really mean. It's just mean. And it's weird. And the wig, I can't stop looking at the wig. Okay, so also teeth, chompers. Her teeth look weird in this episode because there are some times when they look really bad and sometimes when they look really good. And I have a picture of that later. So I don't know if they're giving her like a prosthetic in her mouth at times and then at other times not. So now Charlotte comes in and she is talking about the Bat Mitzvah. And now she's, of course, the rabbi. Get ready for it. Woke moment. The rabbi is a trans rabbi. The trans rabbi is in, she shouts to the entire cafe. Drink for the woke moment. And the way she says it, I mean, everyone in the cafe should have sat up and listened. They should have been like, what? Because she screamed, the trans rabbi is in. Again, with Charlotte, Kristen Davis with her overacting. I don't know why they tell her to yell all her lines, but it's weird. And that whole scene was just weird. So now, of course, we're looking forward to this crazy Bat Mitzvah. They keep dragging Samantha into this show. So Carrie's like texting her again, telling her that, she went on a date, she kissed a man, and then there's like this exchange. But Samantha still doesn't want to talk to her, which I find hilarious. So She's like, "Wanna talk?" And Samantha's like, "Yeah, soon." I wouldn't wanna talk to Carrie either. Carrie only contacts you when she wants to talk about Carrie. Carrie's not interested in what's going on with Sam. She just wants to talk to Sam about what's going on with her. This is just, again, the constant reminder that Carrie's a crappy friend. It's never about anybody else. It's just always about her. So look at now, she's standing up so you can see this outfit that she wore to lunch. I swear to you, when I saw this at first, I thought she was wearing pajamas, silk pajamas. So I had to go back and see if she was actually sitting in that in the cafe. And sure enough, she was wearing that. Look at this. She was walking around New York City wearing pajamas. That's not an outfit. That's silk pajamas. And again, with the blazer look, I am never getting over this. I am never getting over this, what they're trying to do to us. Is this what they think we should be wearing? Pajamas? I mean, not that I'm against wearing pajamas outside. I do it a lot. But I'm not Carrie Bradshaw in New York City. And I don't expect her to look like, soccer moms in the country. I just, pajamas? So then she goes to the lamp store. I kind of actually like this outfit on her. She's wearing the weird suspenders again, but it's more Carrie than silk pajamas outside. It's Carrie's always been a little kooky. She goes to the lamp store. She wants to get the lamp either repaired, and she's trying to start a conversation. And for some reason, she turns around without even knowing if this man she's talking to is the guy to talk to. It's weird. And just starts asking him, is it normal for a light to go on and off by itself? And, he's like, no, it's not. So Harry and Charlotte are now trying Anthony's challah, which is funny because apparently Harry doesn't like it. It's hipster challah because it's made out of sourdough. So there's a whole thing. And this is when we get to meet the trans rabbi. So Rabbi Jen, is it Rabbi Jen? I didn't write down her name. I think her name might be Rabbi Jen. She's actually really funny. And I had myself thinking, well, I didn't think about it at this point, but later on when we see her again, I was thinking, gee, why couldn't she have been part of this show? Like, she's got a Samantha vibe. She's got way more of a Samantha vibe than any of these other actors that they've brought in to try and replace Samantha. And I actually really liked Rabbi Jen. I thought, she's funny. She comes in and she's like, Rock is not Rock. The Rock. The Rock is not ready for this. She hasn't learned any of her. And at one point, Rabbi Jen actually says it doesn't know the Torah. She's not even using they, their pronouns or whatever they've decided to do. She said it doesn't know the Torah. It. She called her it. Is that a thing now? I feel like they're messing with us. Is this the writers fucking with us again? Like, let's drink to that, because I'm never going to understand the wokeism. I'm just not going to understand when you keep changing pronouns. Now it is okay. I thought that was super offensive, but she just said it doesn't know the Torah. And I rewound it 3 times. She really said that. So now we find out that Rose is Rose Rock Rose, the Rock Rose, the Rocky Rose. Rocky Rose, I like it. So Rocky Rose has just not learned any of the things she's supposed to learn. And that's why this is such a disaster. So Harry's like, how is this happening? And she says, we're going to have to give her just 2 lines maybe to memorize. And Charlotte's like, no. Anthony's like, I'm going to take care of this. So Hero goes in there, tells Rocky Rose, you are not doing this to your parents. You are going to turn off the PlayStation and do what you're told, which he's the only person in this entire series who has any common sense. Again, this is why we love Anthony. Thank you, Anthony. He takes away the PlayStation remote. He tells her, no more. You're going to do this because your parents want you to, and because they've been through a lot for you. So you're just going to do it and shut up and stop being a little bitch, which is fantastic. It's what she needs to hear. So again, every time we have to see Che, it's in a club or a bar. And now Miranda's coming to meet Che because she was told she was going to have dinner with the family. So she's all excited about this dinner with the family, but it turns out it's in this loud, crazy bar. Miranda looks insane. Wait, I have a better shot of this outfit. Wait, where did it go? This outfit is so Golden Girls. Is she wearing an angel costume? Is she in a Christmas play? Uh, it's like this gathered neckline, really weird looking thing. It actually reminds me of something that you would have seen on Moonlighting in 1985 with, what was her name? She was on it with Bruce Willis. Remember Moonlighting? She was so beautiful, the girl with the blonde. You know who I'm talking about. I have a 45-year-old memory. I can't do it anymore. It's on the tip of my tongue too. I can't remember her name. But it reminds me of something you would see in a Dynasty or Moonlighting or one of these 1980s shows. Like, did they pull this out of the vintage lot from the Moonlighting set from 1987? It's awful. Like, this is, please, I loved the 80s, but please don't bring back the worst of the 80s. This is very Blanche Devereaux, Golden Girls, although Blanche would have worn it better. Blanche, what is this? It's very unflattering. It looks like an angel costume, like she's gonna be in a play, in a Christmas play, with the weird cutout sleeves. So Che, again, to show you what a terrible person Che is, she has dragged her grandmothers to a nightclub. Like, is this what they wanna be doing? They wanna go to a nightclub? That's what grandma and that's what Nana and Abuela wanna do, is go to, justice for Abuela, justice for Nana. They should be, at home having a nice dinner around a table in their own comfortable homes instead of in a nightclub in their 80s or however old they are. And Miranda's just like, I don't know what I'm doing here. And then Che takes the stage, and we're all thinking, oh, dear God, no, please, no, please, no, please don't give us the comedy concert. We didn't sign up for this. What did we do to deserve this? And I've just been working through this with my therapist. I just got through the last one. Please don't make me do it again. And Che actually says, don't worry, I'm not going to subject you to my stand-up. Oh no, it's much worse than that. Well, thank you for admitting it. Thank you. Drink to Che's terrible comedy. Even Che knows it's bad. So this gets very cringe. Instead of comedy, though, she decides to sing. And she's singing, I wish they were all California girls, and nobody understands what's going on. It's very confusing. Singing is not good. The backup singers are good. I like the backup singers, but she should not sing. Sarah Ramirez, sorry, Sarah, you don't have a great voice. It wasn't a good key for her. She probably has a better voice, but they made her sing very low. Miranda's like, what? What is going on here? The wig actually looks pretty good today. It's got some curl in it, and that's the only time that it looks okay, is when they put a little bend in it. But she's very confused. So are the grandmas. Grandmas have no idea what's going on or what it means. And Che announces that she is going to Hollywood. She's getting a pilot, and she's moving to California. And of course, Miranda has no clue. And then they go over to the bar, and Miranda's like, oh, gee, how come you didn't tell me you had all this time to practice and, do a song? And Che says, well, I'm a fucking narcissist. Yeah, we know. We know. Yeah, we know. At least she knows. We know it also. Miranda doesn't seem to let that sink in. Now, she had a line here. Woke moment. Here it comes. She had a line here that she goes, they think I'm the new Roseanne, but the good one from the 80s. Oh my God. Drink to the insufferable, narcissistic bullshit, woke shit they keep trying to push down our throats. A word about Roseanne. She's actually been in the news the last couple days because Whoopi Goldberg was on The View the other day, and she made the most outrageous and insulting and offensive statement about the Holocaust. She said the Holocaust wasn't about race. She literally tried to say that it was two groups of white people who hated each other. Hitler, the Nazis, and the Jews. White people. There's so much wrong with that. But she is suspended now for saying that, but she won't get fired. She should be fired. Roseanne Barr, on the other hand, made a joke about a woman she did not know was black. Valerie Jarrett. A lot of people didn't know she was black. Very light-skinned woman. She made a joke about Planet of the Apes and that she looks like one of the characters from Planet of the Apes. And they fired her for that. And she's an actual comedian, like Whoopi Goldberg. I don't know, would you consider her a comedian? That she wasn't trying to be funny. She literally just thinks that the Holocaust wasn't about race. But there's a double standard here. And to say that Roseanne Barr is now a double plus ungood bad person because she was canceled by this ultra wokeism, but Whoopi Goldberg, she isn't a super bad ungood person because of her horrifically anti-Semitic views on the Holocaust. These are the new woke rules. Drink for the confusing new woke rules because nobody knows what the fuck is going on. And to claim that Roseanne is bad because she said something that some people didn't like, and they accused her falsely of being a racist, a woman who has a very long history of being an anti-racist, of actually being one of the first people on television to bring LGBT characters into the show and issues into her show. This is not a person that what they did to Roseanne was absolutely unforgivable. And what about Cara Dune, Gina Carano? She made a similar comment, not even similar to Whoopi, about the Holocaust. She said that the mandates and the authoritarianism was reminiscent of the Holocaust, and she got fired for that. She got fired. She fucking fired. Gone. Cara Dune. Can't have her anymore on The Mandalorian. Disney fired her. Whoopi's not going to get fired. She got suspended. Maybe she'll get fired. I wrote this column the other day. If you want to read it, it's on pjmedia.com. It's called Fire Whoopi. Mutually assured destruction is the only way forward to end cancel culture for good. I personally believe if you take one of ours, we take one of yours. That's how it goes. Everybody has to live up to the same woke rules. And if you don't live up to the woke rules, if not everybody has to follow them, then it's unfair and it's bullshit. So Whoopi should be fired. And anyway, Shay should be fired too. I don't like her statement about Roseanne. I didn't find it funny. I found it offensive. I found that joke. That's just one more excuse for the writers to shove down your throat how you're supposed to feel about who's good and who's bad. And Roseanne is bad, but Shay is good. You see? You see what they're telling you here? Just gross. This is gross to me. That really set me off, made me mad. All right. So then she says, I want you to come to, again, bad writing. Here we go. Here's the bad writing. I'm going to literally read to you this conversation that is happening right now. I want you to come to LA. You want me to come? Of course I want you to come. I had no idea. No idea at all. Oh my God. Chug. Pour me another shot. This is like the worst writing I've ever heard. Again, I want you to come to LA. You want me to come? Of course I want you to come. Okay, again, look at the chompers. Her teeth look pretty good here. So like, are those fake? What are they doing? Like those don't look like Miranda's teeth now. Like I'm so confused about the teeth. But again, with the overacting, Miranda she's waiting like a puppy for a treat every time. She's so insecure, and every time Che gives her any kind of anything, any kind of admiration or encouragement, Miranda just loses her shit like a 12-year-old who's been told she's pretty for the first time. I had no idea at all. I mean, it's just cringe. It's hard to watch. And who directed her to do that? So now we find out that X, Y, and Me with Che Diaz is ending. Thank God we don't have to ever see this again. She's quitting, she's leaving, and she's announcing to the podcast group that it's no more. So the hottie producer is like, great, it's your show, whatever you want to do, later. And now Carrie, they're really trying to force this relationship between Carrie and I still don't know his name. Jackie, maybe? Jackie. And again, Carrie's back in her Mormon uniform with the long oversized jacket over something that looks like it could be worn on a farm. I don't get it. Jackie is at least interesting to look at, although he looks terrible. Miranda goes to see Nia Wallace, and there's some stupid banter there. One of the things that bothers me about this conversation is that Miranda tells Nia that she is going to give up on her new social justice warrior path in life. She's going to give up her human rights work. She got this fabulous internship that is very hard to get, but she got it because Naya gave her a very good recommendation. And it almost seems like Naya is about to drop a truth bomb on Miranda. And boy, would I have liked to have heard that. But she doesn't. All she says to her is, but I gave you a glowing recommendation letter. And Miranda's like, I know, but I have to follow my heart. And Naya, instead of being like, hey, what? She is the perfect person who could have taken her down a notch and been like, oh, I see. The white lady who cared so much about social justice and change. You got fingered one time and forgot about your mission to help others, your mission to help the poor Black folks. I see how it is. This is selfish white woman behavior. That would have been wonderful. I would have loved to have seen that because Miranda would have had it coming. And Naya would have been the only one who could really call her out. If Carrie tried to, Miranda does what she always does and is, you're judging me. The writing is just so bad. It's so bad. And then, I mean, Naya, she spills her guts to Miranda about being separated and separating from her husband. And while she was talking about that, I'm thinking, yeah, how come Miranda didn't try that first? How come Miranda just jumped into this? She never even had a conversation with Steve about what could they do to maybe see if it would work. And here's Naya struggling with this relationship and trying to see if they can work it out. And Miranda's only response to her is, you really are something. Oh God, these writers. I need a double martini. This is just, it's so bad. And that's how that scene ends with her saying, you really are something. I mean, again, so now Miranda is not a good friend either. Like she has nothing to offer Nia Wallace. I don't know why Nia thinks that Miranda is her friend. She's not. She used her to feel better about herself and to feel like she was doing something for the cause. So she used Nia Wallace's class, and now she's not even going to finish. She's going to finish it remotely, but she's not going to go on. She's not going to do any of the things that she said she was going to do. She's not going to get the internship. She isn't really going to change her life. When she meant she was going to change her life and do something good for the world, what she really meant was, no, I'm just bored, and I'm going to do whatever whoever comes along first, basically. So that was painful. Then Carrie is wearing this. Again, with the jackets. I'm trying to stick to my notes because I know I wrote stuff in here I don't want to miss. Sorry for the paper turning. But there are pages and pages of notes. The jacket blazer dress. So it's not enough that we have Carrie in oversized blazers all the time. Now we have to have a blazer jacket dress. It's so ugly. I don't hate the color, but I don't know. It's kind of like a grayish powdery blue. It's old. It looks like something that a much older person, but we see a knee. Okay, at least it's a little shorter and than usual. We can see Carrie's legs at least. It's not like a Mormon prairie outfit, but good Lord, I just hate it. I think it's ugly, and I don't know why they keep putting her in stuff. And then Seema, again, there's like a pajamas what do you call it? A theme to the show. She's wearing gold lame pajamas. There's no other way to put it. It's like a gold lame lounge set. I don't know, but it's not good. And so Carrie goes to lunch with John's brother. And he says, where's John? And Carrie, instead of realizing he's talking about his remains, thinks he's having some kind of senior moment. And she's like, John's dead. Again, how many times can Carrie say John's dead? You know, my husband died. Drink. It's like they keep doing this. So then they have this whole cringy conversation about the family crypt, which sounds awful. Please don't put me in a crypt. And he's very concerned about these remains. And, I don't know. She says, I haven't thought about where I'm going to put him. So she goes back to the lamp store. And I got this feeling when I was looking at this man who plays the repairman. He said there was a bad wire. He fixed it. I got this feeling I would rather be watching a show starring this guy and all the different people who come into the lamp store than I would this show. I think that would have been more interesting, and I'm rooting for lamp store guy. Let's have a show about lamps. All right, so Carrie goes to this party of Jackie and his girlfriend Storm or Lightning or Smoke? Is her name Smoke? I don't know. It's a weird name. I don't hate what she's wearing. I think it's kind of fun. I mean, it's ridiculous and no one would actually wear that, but the two of them are kooky. So at least it's something interesting to look at, which the show has not given us much of. And they're having this party, and Carrie is wearing my grandma's lace tablecloth. And what's underneath my grandma's lace tablecloth appears to be something really fun. But of course, we can't see it because her shoulders and arms are off limits, and we're not allowed to see anything she's wearing. It has to be covered up by something granny-ish. She's wearing a granny square for a jacket under this very cool, and underneath is like this cool puffy skirted dress that looks amazing. And I would probably love it, but I can't see it. So I freaking hate it. Like, what is this shit? Sorry, there. Now, I took the screenshot and then I went back and looked at it. And I'm like, look at the styling on all of these people. Let's just look for a second at what Molly, the costume designer, has put all of these people in. We've already covered Carrie and how bad it is. But the person in front of her standing at the bar, okay, so there's a lesbian with an oversized jacket, and then behind Carrie standing at the bar is another Mormon prairie costume with bright orange bangs, and the one next to her looks like literally a Mormon from the prairie from Utah. I'm sorry, and this is not if you are a Mormon, I apologize, because there's just, I don't mean to say that you all look like this, but the ones we see on the news from the compounds. Those are the ones I'm talking about. Look at the guy next to the two prairie ladies at the bar. There's a guy with a necklace on his head and a blue jacket. He's wearing a necklace and he's got a bun and he's wearing like some kind of necklace headdress on his head. I mean, if this isn't a group of misfit weirdos, that's this whole show. This whole show has just been about misfit weirdos. And nobody in this crowd is wearing anything fun. There's nothing good to look at in any of it, except for maybe the jewelry on the head. I mean, what? I don't know. So then it's announced that these two, Smoke, or whatever her name is, and Jackie are getting married. I kind of love the veil. I do. It looks like a giant yellow floof of whipped cream or something. I think it's kind of fun. They always have to have the woke female preacher or whoever, woke moment, drink for the wokeness. It's so woke, so different, which is not different at all anymore. So, progressive to have a tattooed person officiating your wedding. But I do love the veil. I think it's kind of a fun look, and it was fun to look at. Looks good on screen. This guy, he shows up. This is the hot producer. I think his name is Franklin, I think. And he tells Carrie what we've all been saying from the very beginning, which is, why doesn't she have her own podcast? And he wants to produce her on her own podcast where she just talks to callers. Now, haven't we been saying that? I feel like that's been all over the comment section. We're all like, how come she doesn't have her own podcast? Why would she be on Che Diaz's podcast? She's Carrie Bradshaw. She's a #1 best-selling author. She's written like 5 or 6 books. Why would she be the one filling in? It doesn't make sense. And so now this is what should have been done in the beginning, but no, they had to wait till episode 10. So we're all so pissed off that we don't want to see any more of this. So the light is communicating with her again. It's still doing it. And she believes that it's a sign from Big that she needs to figure out where he's going to go or whatever. I don't know. She lays down. She has a dream. And this is where it feels very, it just feels very forced. And like, you can tell that he's missing. You can tell that Big is missing from these scenes. She has this dream where she's in Paris and she sees him and you can kind of hear him, but they've cut him out. And so it's very off. We can tell. And I thought that the show is poor for it. I mean, I just think what they did to him is terrible. Removing him from a show he's in over 30-year-old allegations is not okay. We're a country of laws and evidence, and in the justice system, you're innocent unless proven guilty. You're not guilty because some people just accuse you of crimes. They haven't even taken him to civil court. Have you noticed that, by the way? That they haven't even taken him to civil court. They could sue him for this particular misconduct that they're accusing him of. They could take him to civil court and he would have to face a judge and a jury. But they haven't done that. And you know what that means to me? It means they don't have any friggin' evidence. And so without that, there's nothing. And his career should not be over because of allegations with no evidence. And if you think that it should be over, that's a very dangerous place to be. That means that one day someone can come accuse you of something and your life can be over too. So can we just I hate this this is another thing I hate about the show is that they did that to Chris Noth, that they took him out of his scenes that he was supposed to have. I think that's shitty. I think that they should never have done it. And they're bowing to this Me Too cancel culture that is totally unfair. I've written a whole book about it called Believe Evidence, because women do lie sometimes. All people lie. And it's absolutely absurd to ruin someone's career over allegations that can't be proven. Drink for Chris Noth. He deserves it, because what was done to him was very unfair. So the only part about this dream sequence I liked was this right here. I thought it was very cool. I wish they had taken off that stupid lace jacket. She's in the same outfit she was wearing at the party, which I don't know if they ran out of budget and they just wanted to, get it over with. But they could have put her in something fabulous that we haven't seen before, but we didn't get that. So she wakes up and she's convinced that Big wants to be his remains scattered in Paris, which I don't understand because what did Big have to do with Paris? He's the Chrysler Building. He isn't Paris. He's New York. The only time he was in Paris, for one, he met Natasha there and, betrayed Carrie in Paris. And then the only other time that had anything to do with the two of them was when he came to get her from the awful artist Petrovsky. But they didn't spend any time in Paris. Their whole lives are spent in New York. So you're going to dump his ashes in Paris where you're never going to go. I mean, how often is she going to go and visit the bridge in Paris? But if you had, spread them at the Chrysler Building, you could walk by it every day. But no. Or Central Park or anywhere in New York that Big was a part of, because Mr. Big was New York. So stupid. So she is at the they mitzvah now. Here's the they mitzvah. And I just despise Lily. There she is, the creature, who just ruins everything. There she is. The whole reason why this whole show is bad is probably Lily's fault. I mean, everything else is Lily's fault. So why not? Charlotte has spent an amazing amount of money on this thing. And why is she dressed? I can't with this. She is dressed like the last bridesmaid in 1987. The bride, the wedding you didn't want to go to because the bridesmaids' dresses were so bad. She's dressed like someone who, is hated by the bride. I mean, look at this. What is this dress? And it reminded me of this meme that I saw that had me laughing out loud. The supply chain is so backed up that Dillard's just received a shipment they ordered in 1987. Now, doesn't that look like the dresses she's in? Look at the middle picture. Look at the ones on the bottom. That's the dress that Charlotte's wearing. She's wearing the Target collection. And please, people, please, someone tell the designers out there to stop with this. Stop. The 80s were fun, but this is going too far. They weren't totally fun. I mean, everything about them wasn't great. And I would say that the nun look, the Carrie on the Prairie look was not the best part of the 80s. The puffy sleeves were kind of fun, but I think it takes a much younger person to pull off a puffy sleeve. I think when you're 50, a puffy sleeve is just not going to do it for you. I hate all of this. So I don't understand why she looks like this. And red and maroon, I cannot think of a worse color combination than red and maroon. What is Miranda wearing? It looks like someone took a choir robe and transformed it into a dress complete with the elastic sleeve around the wrist. I don't know what this is, but it's hideous. Hideous. And LTW, I mean, What's with the turban? Are we back in Abu Dhabi? I don't like this. I don't like this look. I like her coat, but I don't like the turban. I don't get it. And I think it's over the top and weird. But it's not the worst thing about this day mitzvah. Look at Charlotte's dress. It's so bad. It's so bad. I think maybe some of you haven't lived through the 80s, and so maybe the younger audience thinks this is really chic, but those of us who lived through it remember that shoulder pads and big puffy sleeves really looked ridiculous. And now I'm seeing it back again going, why are we going back here? I don't understand. So the hot fellas, is it hot fellas? I never remember what they're called. They're there to deliver the challah. And again, Rocky Rose is refusing to go out now. Now, there's this big $1 million event. I mean, this thing had to have cost $500,000, if not more. And she's refusing to go out there. And she is having this meltdown with her parents. And she's refusing to be bat mitzvahed. And she tells him, and I wrote this down because it was so frustrating to me. Because where is it? She's refusing to go out there, and she says this thing to them that is so upsetting. It's like she says, I don't want to be any of these things. I'll find it in a minute. It's in my notes. I mean, look at this event that they've made. Look at the candy bar. It is outrageous. It's so expensive. And Harry and Charlotte just spoil this kid, and they shouldn't do it because she's a total jerk. And that's what happens when you spoil your kids. They turn into total jerks. Okay, again, we're in the bathroom because this series has not had enough scenes in the bathroom. And this particular scene, I like Carrie's dress. I like the way it fits her. It's more of like a fitted dress. It's nicer than most of the things we've seen. Miranda just looks crazy in the choir robe outfit. She comes in to tell Carrie, oh, yes, I can go to Paris. I can. Because Carrie wants to take the girls to Paris with her to do this thing with Big's ashes. But of course, Miranda had to play well, I don't know. I'm going to be in LA with Che. And nobody even knew. So they were like, what? Where are you going? And she tells her, no, I can go. And Carrie says, no, you're not going to go. You're going to be too tired. Just forget it. Basically, just forget it. And Carrie finds out that Miranda is leaving her internship to go to LA, and she's like, but that was so hard to get. And of course, Miranda flips out on her and tells her, you're being judgmental. Every time we have a character switch, we're gonna drink. This is a total character switch. I mean, if you remember, so Carrie says to Miranda, what are you going to do in LA all day? Sit in an audience and laugh? If you remember that Miranda, back when Carrie was losing her head over Alexander Petrovsky, Miranda was telling her the same thing. What are you going to do in Paris? What are you going to do there all day? You're going to quit your job? What are you, crazy? I mean, back then, Miranda was the only sane voice. Carrie's kind of trying to do that, but Miranda's not hearing it. And then we have Rabbi Jen, who walks out of the bathroom. She overhears this long, intense conversation, and she's like, okay, let me step in here and tell you what's important. So we have the wise tranny opinion. I really like her, though. I think that she could have been a lot of comic relief from the beginning of this, because she's funny. And I thought that this was funny, although very forward of someone to just walk into your conversation and tell you what they think of it. Although somebody needs to tell these people what to do, because they're morons, especially Miranda. Just absurd. So we're back with Rocky Rose and her parents, and Harry is literally trying to bribe her to do the right thing. He says, what do you want? An Oculus? Do you want an Apple Watch? What's it going to take? He literally says that. What a terrible parenting choice that is. And this is why Rock is the way she is. Rock is the way she is because her parents indulge her in everything. And it's a stupid, stupid thing to do. Charlotte, after talking to LTW, she goes back. Oh, let me tell you what I found my note. Here's what Rock said. Rocky Rose, she says, I don't want to be labeled as anything, not as a girl or a boy, non-binary, a Jew, a Christian, Muslim, or even a New Yorker. Stupid writing. Stupid, stupid, stupid. Charlotte says, you're just nothing now. And Rock then says, I'm only 13. Can't I just be me? Oh, yeah, you can be you. An asshole, because that's what you are. They've raised an asshole. This little ungrateful jerk of a kid can't even get up and say her 2 lines in Hebrew for her parents. Like, "You know what? I don't care if you don't wanna do it. I don't care. You're 13. You're gonna do what I tell you. Period." Period. And you think Charlotte is getting there because Charlotte's like, I spent all this money. You are not doing this to me. You are gonna get out there." And instead, Charlotte loses again to this kid and goes out there and does the bar mitzvah herself. What a terrible, ridiculous these people are failures as parents. I'm sorry, but if you let your kid get away with this kind of shit, you're just a bad parent. You're not doing it right. The power balance is all wrong. These kids are so awful. What do they think as parents that this is doing for them in the future? Letting your kid walk all over you like this and get whatever they want. This is the most ungrateful little bitch. This is a kid who needs to be told, quit your bitching and eat your peas. Like, enough. And she should have been told that from the beginning with this, I don't want to be called Rose. I want to be called Rock. No, the answer is no. I'm going to call you when I named you. And one day, when you're old enough to go to the courthouse and pay for a name change, you can change your name. But until then, I'm going to call you the name that I called you, you little bitch. Shut up. Like, enough. Enough. I would have taken all her crap out of her room, too. This is when she's refusing to do what I asked her to do, what this family does, what our traditions are at 13. No, hell no. You're going to do it. You get through it. And then, when you're 18, you can go do whatever you want. But come on. They're just raising little assholes. And I don't understand why this is tried. Are we supposed to think that this is like a heartwarming scene that her parents have capitulated to her stupid demands? Like she said, I'm only 13. Can't I just be me? You have been running your parents' life now this entire series. Like, literally, they're being run by their children, and it's gross to see. It's just gross. And I wish someone with, parenting skills had been in the writing room to say, why are we letting these kids be such assholes? And why are we giving in to them? And can I just say, I don't understand the yarmulkes. We've got the rainbow yarmulkes, which I find obnoxious. And now we even find out that not even Rose cares about any of this. She's just going through her rebellious phase, but I couldn't stop focusing on these silly yarmulkes. They just are so sacrilegious almost. It's like, how do Jewish people feel about this? I don't know. I feel like this is like I don't know, it's dangerously anti-Semitic, I think. I think we're going to a point here where they're just poking fun of Jews now, and I'm not sure why. And now we have the coup de grace. We all knew it was going to happen. Miranda went back to red. Now, this is the introduction of Miranda's red wig. Drink for wigs. Drink for wigs. Drink for Miranda's bad wig. Miranda has colored her hair. And we find out that Brady and his girlfriend are going to be backpacking across Europe because, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, everybody sends their 17-year-old out with his girlfriend to Europe, I guess. And we think for a second that they're going to have a conversation about Che because Miranda says, are you ever going to say anything? And then she pauses and I think, oh my gosh, we're finally going to get to hear Brady's, explanation of how he feels about Che. And then she says, about my hair? Are you kidding? Are you kidding? Anyway, Brady's like, yeah, what happened to your gray pride? Which I thought was funny. Drink. What happened to your gray pride? Gray pride. And she was like, I don't know. I just felt like I should change. No, you know what you felt like? You felt like you knew you looked really stupid with gray hair. You looked bad. And you looked older, made you older. And now you want to look young for your new girlfriend. And not your husband. You weren't willing to put in the effort for Steve, but you're willing to put in this effort to look younger for the new girlfriend. I mean, do these writers think that we think that Miranda is likable in any way? I mean, I just don't understand this at all. She is so unlikable. And they have just destroyed her. And she's so proud of herself, too. She is so proud of herself that she has, gotten her red hair back and she's off to no mention of Steve, no mention of her not being a part of this family anymore. And Brady's apparently fine with it. I just don't think they know how unlikable they've made her. So now we're in Paris. Carrie is wearing a I wanted to like this, I really did. I did, I wanted to like it because look, there's her shoulders. Her shoulders, her décolleté, it's all out on display finally. Her shoulders and arms are not totally covered up, although those puffy sleeves are big enough for, 2 Carries. And those gloves, I can't look at her in gloves anymore without seeing rubber gloves, and so that's all I can see. I wanted to love this dress, I kind of like the silhouette of it. I saw what they were getting at. Of course, she's gonna wear something outrageous, in Paris. It's supposed to be very fashionable, but I thought that this particular dress is just crazy. I don't think it looks good on her. I like the shoulders though, at least she has great looking shoulders. Again, why did they hide her this entire series? I don't get it, but they're hiding the rest of her under voluminous fabric. It's like there's enough fabric in this dress to make 10 dresses. And those gloves, it just looks like she's wearing the rubber gloves, smoking getup again. And I wanted to love it. I like the color. I like tangerine. Mm, I just the more I look at it, the more I think she looks like she's wearing bed sheets. Like when my kids were little, they used to take bed sheets and make dresses out of them. And they would pin them up, on each other, and they would make these big, funny looking things, and this is what it looks like to me. I mean, those sleeves are just obnoxiously huge. They're 3 sizes too large. They keep putting her in things that are so big, and it just makes her look, I don't know, crazy. So she's got his, ashes stuffed into that little Eiffel Tower purse of hers, and it's just very dramatic, and, I actually I'm gonna laugh just thinking about it. I busted out laughing when she dumped them because of the physical comedy. I wish I could show you the video, but I'll get a copyright strike. But go back and watch this when she dumps it into him into the river. It is physically so awkward that there was a comedic thing to it that made me bust out laughing out loud. And of course, the only times I've laughed during this series have been at inappropriate moments. So like we're supposed to be getting this like bittersweet moment where she's dumping his ashes, and yet it just looked like she was a crazy person on a bridge all by herself in this huge ball gown. And I just busted out laughing. I had a really good laugh, and I don't know why. I feel bad. I feel bad that I laughed, but I did. It wasn't supposed to be a laughing scene, but it was. And there's this huge bow on the back of this dress, just like the 80s, man. So then she pulls out her phone, she takes off the gloves finally. It looks better without the gloves. And she texts Samantha and tells her that I'm in Paris. Can we meet? And Samantha actually says yes. And so she's very happy about that, and she says, "Fabulous." But of course, we don't get to see that or even hear about it because Samantha's not in this shit show because she's the smartest. Kim Cattrall's the smartest actress in the world, and she should not be a part of this ever again. And she should never come back because this show cannot be saved. So after there's the back of the dress with the giant, huge bow. I mean, we were over this in 1986, 87. We're back in the podcast studio, and now Carrie is doing her own podcast. And I like this so much better. This was absolutely more up her alley. This is what she should have been doing in the beginning. This is what we all said should have happened. And instead, and it could have, if you think about this, think about this. You know how they got rid of the her monologue that goes over the story, which kind of ties everything together? If they had done this from episode 1, her spots on the podcast could have been done over the story with her little words of wisdom or whatever, just like the column. Why didn't they do that? It would have made it so much better, so much more like the original series. I don't get it. I do like what she's wearing, though. This is one of the very few things that she has worn that I like. I just think it's pretty, and it's not huge on her. So then Franklin comes over and tells her that he thinks that she's done a good job, and you can tell there's chemistry between them. And I kind of didn't see this coming. I saw that they were going to have a romance, but I did not expect them to start making out in the elevator. And I'm just going to give them this. I'm going to give the show it was kind of awkward. I rewound it, I watched it again, and it seemed like Carrie didn't, I don't know, they want them to have the chemistry, but I'm not sure it's there. But I'm just going to pretend like they have it because I kind of liked this ending. And it was at least better than the teacher, because the teacher, there was no chemistry at all. Although this does kind of throw them into a working relationship thing that's a little problematic with the Me Too stuff. Like, is he the boss? I'm not sure if he's the boss. Can you get involved with your producer? I don't know. But at least this was a little bit more of a happier kind of ending. It was a little fun. Thanks, Michael Patrick King. And thanks, Julie Rottenberg and Elisa Zaritsky, for your contributions to this horror show, and Samantha Irby, co-producer. She got a producer credit too. I found that kind of interesting. But that's it. That's my recap for the finale. And if you are around this evening, please do not forget that I am going to be live streaming about this show with Mike Harlow, who is absolutely hilarious. We're going to do another episode of We're Here, One of Us is Queer, and we're sick of this shit. And I'm very excited for that. It's going to be great. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time this evening. Bring your drinks. You're going to need them, and we'll get Mike's perspective. I think he's even bringing his mama. Mama Harlow is going to be with us for a little while to tell us what she thought about this show. And please do leave me your comments. I appreciate all of them. Boy, we've been doing this for an hour. I can't believe how long this has gone. But I thought for the finale, might as well make it a good one. All right, everybody, take care. I'll see you tonight.